Thank you for joining us at the Baldwin. I really appreciate this.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Get settled here. All right.
So, episode 5 is really going to hit the fan, of course, when everyone sees this episode. I know it hit the fan for me when I saw it. So what I want to ask you is, how do you think the character of Mabel is going to be perceived once everyone sees episode 5?
Homewrecker, just homewrecker, period. I mean, the amount of skits that I'm seeing online and the comments from episode 3, just her dancing in the kitchen and him fixing the fan. I am so tickled. Like, I just love how engaged the fans are, and they're gonna come for me. They're gonna come for Charles, but I don't think it'll be a surprise. I think at this point in the story, whether it was Mabel, the woman at church in the band, some lady at the grocery store, it was going to be somebody, I believe, the way Charles has been acting and the way the energy is in the house with him and Lucille, I think it was a matter of time. I think the timing of it all was just very convenient for Mabel in this moment. But yeah, I'm very curious to see the reaction that we get on Friday when episode 5 airs.
And
what do you think? What do you think? What do you think the fans are going to say?
I do believe the fans are going to think homewrecker immediately, but I also feel like Charles, there were so many signs here that clearly, Mabel was feeling him, and him being married. It's like, should you go over there and fix the fan by yourself? Should you go over there for a party while your wife is on a church retreat? It's like, come on now, Charles. I know Mabel is going to wear a lot of blame, but some blame has to be put on Charles.
Exactly, because he made his own decisions. He could have stayed at home, read a book, played that guitar.
Yeah, played that guitar, created a song for when everybody came back from the retreat. That's what he could have did, sip some tea. But no, he decided to march on down to that party. And that party was it was kind of wild. Mabel's friend was grabbing on Charles. And I said, oh my goodness.
You clutching your pearls.
Yes. Yeah. And even that, Charles was kind of, even then it could have been a sign like, you know what, let me get out of here, because something may not be right here. But no, Charles stayed for the party.
He was curious. That curiosity was flowing.
He absolutely was. And so for you, do you think it was more Mabel seduced him, or do you think it was more of Charles was kind of entering this as like a broken man, kind of looking for some love, some kindness, because he's been having a rough go at home?
Yes, he has. Honestly, I feel like it's a mix of both. Mabel, as I created this character, for me, she is driven. She is single-minded. She has a focus. She made a decision to go after this man, right? It's cloaked in kindness and, hey, you need to talk and fix my fan, come dance with me, right? But she made a decision. I mean, she's a grown person. And as the fans will learn as the episodes continue this season, we get to learn more about Mabel's story and her history with love and relationships and her hurts. And it's that thing of hurt people. The same thing that may have happened to you that broke your heart. You think you'll never do that, then you find yourself in that position, and then that cycle just happens. And so she sabotages her own friendships with other people, other women like Lucille, and then she sabotages her potential for love and intimacy, because I think is at this point, she doesn't even know how to deal and balance both. So for sure, inviting him to that party, she knows what kind of party she's throwing, and she had a mission. That's why when fans get through episode 5, and if you look closely at Mabel's face, you see satisfaction in her eyes. You see like, yep, mission accomplished. You know,
And that,
so that was fun to create. And even, you know, as I created the journey for her, that part there was like, where will I show signs of that and little hints of that? So that was a lot of fun.
because I know as things progress, Mabel kind of starts to develop like a guilt almost. But as we learn more about her past, I wonder, is it all guilt, or is it also layers of kind of boredom? Because, all right, well, I got him, and it's not really the way I may want it to be anymore, or I'm kind of already bored with this. So you know what? Now it's time to like just move on and go on. So I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you, do you think it's guilt, or do you think it's boredom, or maybe both?
Again, I think it's both. I think because of the sabotage, it's like, you know, at the top of a new year, you're like, I'm going on a 21-day raw food cleanse. That's what I'm doing. And you get to day 8 and you eat that burger because you just couldn't take it no more. And day 9, you're like, damn, I ate that burger. I was doing so good on that cleanse. You know what I mean? It's that thing of, okay, I'm gonna start again. And then the cravings come back. And I believe, to me, it's that cycle of that happening over and over again. And she's like the life of the party. She's vivacious. She likes to have fun. She's, you know, and there's also like, sometimes we can get addicted to the hunt. The hunt is the thing that's most satisfying. You know, can I get him? Can I get this? How far can I take this? How far can I push the button? You know, compared to Mabel, Charles is a square, you know, as we'll
Yes.
see more as the season progresses. So that can sometimes be a challenge or a turnoff, you know? So it's that fun balance in creating that character and showing the audience those different sides.
And I think it was good to see it play out this way, where it wasn't necessarily the man in pursuit of something else. He was an active participant, but Mabel was more of the one that was saying, I want you, I'm
Yep.
dropping these hints. Let's see if you're gonna catch on. She was the hunter. And that's something that we don't always see. A lot of times it's played out, the man is the hunter, the man is going out the door to pursue a side relationship or whatever the case may be. But in this situation, Lucille invited the hunter, into her home, and we see what ends up happening.
Oh, yes. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. What a journey. I am like trying to get myself ready for this journey to begin with these comments and Twitter and the memes. The fans, y'all go in. I love it. You know, even the comments that are a bit harsh or, you know, mean. When I see the fans get that involved, I know I did a good job. You know, I know Christine is Christine, Mabel is Mabel, but that means you got deep into the story, and that's my job. That's what I'm hired to do, tell a good story and get you engrossed into it. So I'm excited for that.
And these storylines, people can relate to just kind of these everyday dynamics and relationships, and different people, friendships that sour for various reasons. And it is sadly a very common thing that things can start off innocent. You can bring people into your home, around your family, and you don't always know a person's intentions, and a lot of times things unfold this way. And I think that's why the audience really gets into these things about these characters, because people feel like, I know a Mabel, I know a
Exactly.
Charles, I know
Yep.
a Lucille. And so, Friday night, it just all bursts all over, social media, and everybody has their takes and jokes and skits, because people are even doing skits out of scenes, which
I have seen the Charles and Lucille skits and the Mabel skits. I'm so tickled, down to the details of clothing and tones of voice. Me, just as an actor and content creator, I just love it. I just love it. And I'm honored. I'm honored to play a character that on a show that fans enjoy this much, and they want to even invest that time to do that. So I like to share. I usually share their stuff on my Instagram stories and stuff, let them know, hey, I see you. And I think it's hilarious. So this is great.
Yes, it's always good to be one of those characters on the show that everybody has very strong opinions about. Like you said, even if they are sometimes can be a little harsh, a little mean, it's like, well, they like my character,
Right.
either I'm upsetting everybody enough to say something, or I'm just kind of like one of those more boring characters that's in the background. So
Right. Right.
Mabel
I'd
is
rather
going
have
to be
something people to
discussed.
talk about. Yeah. And when I auditioned for this, I didn't know it would be this, I was like, oh, this is a cool character, cool story arc. But then as we were filming, our executive producer, Heather, she would look at me like, Christine, after that scene, whew, get ready. I'm like, okay. And then go to the next scene, not really absorbing what she's saying, because I'm just going to work. I'm just acting. But now that I've seen the entire season, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. I see how that stands out in that episode. That's memorable. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yes, and episode 5 and on is going to be very memorable. I don't think people had this on their bingo card for what was going to go on with Charles going into this season. People do okay, it's the financial aspect and wanting to start businesses and things like that. But I don't think anyone at the completion of season 1 saw this potentially happening. Like Charles he's gonna step out, and it's like, oh
And he's
yeah,
stepping all the way out. All the
oh
way out.
yeah. He's not he was shy about it at first, but that quickly changes. And I'm just as excited as you are to see the social media commentary when
We're
this
both gonna
episode hits.
We're both gonna be on the threads. Make sure you tag me on your favorite, please. If you see one that you
Oh,
like, please tag me on something. Because I
I
might
will, because it's gonna start flying at about 1 a.m. The stuff is they stay up until midnight, and the tweets start flying at 1 in the morning. It's like it doesn't even matter. People have work tomorrow. No, I gotta talk about Mabel and Charles.
oh my God, I got my stomach hurting. Oh,
So I
let's
have
go.
one more question for you, but it's not about the show. So for Baldwin, we focus a lot on entertainment and things like that, but also social justice and just our community. And late last week, the body cam footage of the brutal beating of Tyre Nichols was released. And so I wanted to ask you, if Congress gave you a phone call tomorrow and asked you, what's one thing you think we can enact to help with police reform, what would one of your suggestions be?
I know this may not, I don't know how. I'm pausing because to me, at the root of everything is mental health. So, and hear me on this, because I believe there is something going on within people that they have not dealt with, whether it's hurt, pain, whatever beliefs they have, that needs to be healed so that they're not out in the world causing this kind of pain to people. And so I would say that what needs to be like mandatory is like therapy, count, like mandatory, like working through your stuff. And I know that sounds probably kind of woo-woo, but for me, it's like, okay, we got body cams, we got this, we got people, okay, this person got fired or, sent on a leave. And that doesn't feel like justice to me. And I believe at the core of things is what's going on up here, because what triggers in you to make you think that this life is not worth anything and that someone won't miss that person? Like, what is going on within you that you want to cause that much harm? Like, to me, that's where my heart bleeds the most. And so if anything, I would say that needs to be mandatory, whether they like it or not just after something happens, on the job and they're triggered. No, just period. Having that and those kind of mental assessments for people to see who you have working for you.
Absolutely. And that's what I've heard a lot of people saying is, it definitely starts even ahead of the training aspect. It's screening people for all kinds of things, including mental health, including various biases and things like that. These things have to be figured out really before people are put on the job, because at that point it's kind of too late. You know, things can change your mind and sway you, but a lot of times, you know, we're dealing with adults. So I don't want to say people are just set in their ways, but with certain things and certain bias and ignorance and things like that, it's very hard to change those things in adults. So you really have to figure it out early on and then determine, should this person go into this line of work? Should this person police this community? What could be the result of putting them into this type of environment? And I do feel like all of us, everyone has their things and things they do need to deal with and sort through. And I feel like with everything, especially a line of work like policing, therapy, and mental health is very important. And it has to be taken serious.
Period. And that is just the stance I have, you know, just in life, you know, even as I coach a lot of up and coming actors. And that's the thing, you know, it's not just about, can you do an audition? How's your self-tape and your lights? I'm always like, how's your heart? How's your mind? This is not an easy industry, right? And this is where people crumble and they end up addicted to things because they haven't dealt with what's going on up here. So yeah, that's where my heart is. And that's where, you know, I choose to be a beneficial presence on this planet when I interact with people and pour into people. And it's just really disheartening and it just breaks your heart. You hear we hear these stories just way too much. And it's just a lot. It's just a lot.
Yes. Well, Christine, I appreciate sitting down and talking to you. I cannot wait for everyone to see the rest of Mabel and how you play out for the rest of this season. It is going to be jaw-dropping and funny, and it's going to be a lot, but I really appreciate you sitting and talking with the Baldwin today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And, you know, just want all of your viewers to just make sure you keep tuning into our Black Mafia Fridays. You know, our theme this season is seduction and temptation, and you're going to see it play out in many, many ways with all the characters. So stay tuned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.